Hi everyone, this is Kenneth Faver again. If you recognize my outfit, it's because this is my third video for YouTube today. And the reason I'm filming so many videos back to back is because I have a lot of friends that are close to me that are asking for me to put out content for folks. And so what I want to focus on is how to transform fear. So fear is an emotion that grabs us, right? Fear can collapse the different subtle channels in our body where energies run. It can like constrict us, right? Often if you feel scared, right, you might feel like a knot in your throat, your palms get sweaty, our vision can even kind of tunnel, our mind can kind of like shut down. I remember a lot of times growing up where like a teacher would call on me, and if I started getting scared, if I didn't just kind of like say the answer, if I started getting scared, I remember like I'd start being able to like think less and less. So if that ever happened to you, let me know. But um there's just good examples of how fear affects our body, how fear affects our other emotions, and how fear affects our ability to think, to process, to have choice. So right now we have the coronavirus, and it's moving through a lot of different communities. We are in a space of a lot of unknown, and I think the unknown often can be a really big catalyst for fear, along with risk of consequence, risk of harm. Those create a lot of fear. And I think this is kind of the perfect storm of a lot of different factors that are creating a lot of fear for folks, right? People are losing jobs because many places, restaurants are being forced to close, or stores that aren't like grocery stores or pharmacies. So people are losing jobs and money, and you may be one of those folks. And so fear in this particular moment is an appropriate emotion. Other folks might be immunocompromised. They might be part of a category that is at risk for the virus. And again, you might be one of those people. And again, fear is a perfectly appropriate emotion to have in that moment. And even if you're not that person, but maybe a family member is, or you have very young children or elders in your life that you're afraid for. And then the other is that there's a lot of new and unknown, right? Like I have to stay my butt home for the next 2, 3, maybe 6 weeks, right? We don't know. But all of those things create hooks for our fear to really take hold in our body and in our emotions and in our mind. And I'll also talk about what fear does for the subtle energy centers in our body. But first and foremost, fear deserves our honor and kindness and respect. Fear, in many ways, in my opinion, is why, as human beings, we have survived. And I also think why we're so intelligent. And I think of, early humans who, let's say they heard a growling in the woods, and those that were unafraid, those that heard the growl and were like, meh, it's probably nothing. And then even one step further, right? Those who like heard the growl and then like saw claws and a paw and maybe like fur, right? Those that were like, oh my goodness, that's a bear, I'm gonna book it. Those that were afraid survived. Those that were unafraid, that were like, you know what, but I just saw one paw, it might not even be a bear. Or maybe they actually see the bear and they're like, well, it's a bear, but like, is it hungry? What if it's a really nice bear? Right? Like, those are people that probably got eaten. So our nervous system, and what I mean by that, right, is like, the old parts in our brain and even how our brain communicates to our body, it's really designed to overreact and to assume. In that moment, my overreaction to a growl keeps me safe. My assumption that that growl means it's a bear and it's hungry and it would like to eat me keeps me safe. And so if I'm not trained to keep my body safe by overreacting and assuming things, early humans would have died, you know? So we're going to really honor this mechanism, and we have to really understand it to evolve it fully. And so the first thing that I think is important to consider with our fears, that our fears often informed, but maybe not holding all of the different perspectives available. So what I mean by that, right, is to make this video, I felt some amount of fear. And that fear was that somebody might not like my video, or that maybe worse, that like I'd put this video out and nobody would watch it. That's kind of personally scary, I guess. Or that I might just not do a good job. And so that fear is informed by those different possibilities, but maybe it's not considering how important this video is for me to make, because I want to contribute to people. I don't necessarily need a lot of likes, although you should hit a like. I also don't necessarily care if nobody ever watches this, but please share this video. But if we can get information from our fear, and then if we can share information with our fear, I have found that that really helps our fear evolve and have more perspective. So we'll do that together. So first, tune into where you feel fear in your body. So maybe that fear is in your shoulders. Maybe it's in our face, in the pit of our stomach. And if you're not feeling fear in this particular moment, or it's hard to connect into it, you can tune into another moment in time when your fear was very present. And again, when you find that fear, notice where it is in your body. And now let's notice some things about that fear in our body. So is it heavy or is it light? What temperature is the fear? If the fear had a color, what color would it be? And the more we can connect with our emotions, the more we can heal them. Perfect. And next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give this fear permission to take up space in our body. So just letting it get a little bit bigger. And that doesn't necessarily mean we need to feel it more, but we're just giving that energy permission to go from contraction to space. And then as that fear takes up space, we're gonna bring different energies in to support the transformation of this fear. So I love working with earth and elemental energies. So let's imagine like earth energy comes up from the center of the earth, comes up, it touches our feet, touches our energy aura, our bubble. And then this earth energy comes and it holds that fear. And just use your imagination. And as this fear is being held by this earth energy, let your fear know that the earth can support it in healing and feeling safe, being taken care of. And then just like I said, our fear has tremendous information. So let's allow this fear to share with you what it's reacting to, or maybe like what's important to it. And as that fear begins to share those things, we can also start to share with the fear as well. So maybe we let it know that it's kind of ruining our time, our quarantine time. That because I'm so scared, I'm not having any fun. We might let our fear know that it's okay not to know. And sometimes I just like let my fear know that it's totally cool for it to be completely terrified, and nonetheless, the choices I'm going to make are because they're the best choice to make, regardless of how I feel. And that's not to like dismiss our fear, but I kind of imagine myself kind of building resolve around it. So, for example, with this video, I felt pretty scared making it, and also a lot of people asked me to make it. So, tough luck, fear. My friends win. And then I like to imagine that every energy and every emotion has an enlightenment. It has like a purpose. And so I like to imagine that my fear has hopes and dreams. That if you ever sit down with fear and you were like, fear, if you could do it all over again, would you be an emotion? And then my fear would be like, you know what? I would have been a veterinarian or something like that, right? So let's show up with our fear and give it permission to evolve. And as we give it permission to evolve, let it know that it can collaborate with earth energies, with universal energies, that whatever it needs can come in. And I like to see that emotion kind of burst into like a beautiful either white light or golden light. And to see how much of that evolved emotion wants to take up space in your body. See if some of it wants to be released into the earth. Or if it wants to be kind of released out into the universe and made available for other people, for other beings, then we can also release that transformed energy out. And the reason we're doing that is because it might support other beings in evolving how they relate to their fear. So it kind of like primes the field, is how I think of it. Perfect. And then I like to really honor and appreciate myself for having courage, for being willing to explore an emotion in a new way. And I'd like to really honor and appreciate your courage. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe.